Disclaimer, all of the artists showcased in this video have given me explicit permission to use their content. They were told this is a roast video and they all agreed that it was okay for me to use their work. Thank you to all the artists involved, the credits are below, and I really appreciate it, because without them I wouldn't have been able to make this video. Also, I have a cold right now. Apparently the only time I feel like doing voiceover videos is when I have a cold and my voice sounds like this, so I'm just going to ignore it, and you can too. The first piece of art I will be going for today was submitted by Blue Sheep on YouTube, link in the description, and is of their character Jukit from the start of 2021. Now this actually isn't that long ago, so their progress has been pretty incredible, but I'm still going to roast the hell out of this artwork, purely because that is what I'm here to do. Before I start drawing anything, I always want to know what my central theme is going to be, and for this one I believe it's wonder and excitement. It looks as though this character is leaving the den for the first time by themselves, and is filled with curiosity, which is what I really wanted to portray here. This is the reason why I have changed her position and her expression quite a bit, just to make sure she looks a little less timid and a little more excited to be getting out there and learning so much. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to pick on is composition, because of course I will. Ironically enough, I ended up completely ignoring composition when I was doing my own redraw of this, so I can't really say shit, but it looks like you've almost used a rule of thirds. Like, if you just shuffled your main character across slightly, then it would have been a rule of thirds composition, which is really cool. I ended up going with something central because, in full honesty, I actually forgot to look at the grid because it is 10 o'clock in the morning and I have the flu. But that's just one little thing I wanted to pick on. Second of all, colours. Personally, I have a very interesting relationship with colours, but one thing I will mention is you have a very strange saturation going on with your main tones. To the point where, like, I colour picked the top rock, and I used that colour because it was this gorgeous grey pink kind of look, which I loved. But then the ground is white. Like, it looks like you started it on a white canvas and then left it like that. Which, I will point out, never ever start anything on a white canvas. Use a grey, because it will screw up your colours and it's probably just going to hurt your eyes as well. It's not a good idea. Just a hot tip for everyone. Because I used to start on like a gridded canvas, like a transparent background, and that was so awful. No, but personally, I prefer more desaturated colours, as you can see in my redraw. I kind of stuck to them quite specifically. But overall, this is actually quite good. Considering when this was made and how far you've come since then, I actually don't have that many complaints. Although one of my complaints is biodiversity. There is one big chunk of miscellaneous grass and that's it. Forests very rarely, or any location really, very rarely has one kind of plant. Something that Breath of the Wild came out with, which was really good, was a very vast diversity of plant species in particular areas. And of course they varied between areas, but it looks really good when you have several different plants growing. So I made sure to add some very rough grass, some lichens, some moss, a couple of little flowers. It just adds a lot more interest to your scene. Aside from that though, this looks really good and I've completed my redraw of it, so let's move on. Congratulations and thank you again for submitting your work. So, I did have to stop myself from laughing a little bit at this one, purely because I have, you know, the flu, and if I laugh too hard, I'm going to cough myself to death. But this one kind of got me, not gonna lie. So this is my Mister's board on Instagram, link below of course, and something about it just really speaks to me. It reminds me of the old days so much. He's so round and yet so asymmetrical. Like, usually at this stage of an artist making digital art, they will discover like the circle tool and use that, and everything will be like vaguely symmetrical because of it. But this one, he's just so wonky. I love him. I'm not gonna lie. He holds like a very special place in my heart right now. Something about his wonky ears. Also, the fact that the character's name is Rose something, but there is not a single like rose-toned part on this animal is very funny to me. I just appreciate him so much, okay? And of course we have another kitten, so it's time for my adorable big head, giant eyes drawings again. This one, okay, something else that got me about this one is the aspect ratio as well, because the screen size is so tall, and once again that white background comes through. Don't draw with a white background. God. But just the fact that the character is on the very bottom of the screen, and the image was not cropped. Like, the artist at the time didn't know how to crop a canvas like that. I think it speaks to me. It really does. So I had to do this one. When this one was submitted, I was like, I need to... Yep. Despite all of the adorable aspects about the original work, this is a video about me. And therefore, it's time to talk about my opinions. Oh no. First of all, I grabbed a reference picture of a kitten, and of course it was the fluffiest, roundest thing I've ever seen, which works so well to my advantage because I find it literally impossible to draw a baby anything without just circles, man. Everything is a circle, everything is round, and that's great. Therefore, Rose Kit got fluffy, and that's pretty much the base of it. After this, I did go to pick the colours and realised that these are pure greys. I kind of suspected they were when I saw the white background, but just to emphasise, pure grey, don't use pure grey. Take it very slightly to the side, make it slightly red, slightly blue, slightly even yellow works if you're careful. This will, first of all, give your character warm or cool tones naturally, and second of all, make me not want to kill you. Trying to shade a pure grey is not possible. It does not look good. You can try whatever you want, but nah. Do not use pure greys. Do not use pure whites, and definitely do not use a pure black. I will come to your house, and I just will, that's it. I will remove your privileges to draw if you use a pure black as the base for your character design, because what the hell? What the hell? Even when I do silhouettes, I don't use black. I don't know, this is something I had to learn over time. It's a piece of advice to people who don't do that yet. Make your greys not grey. Alongside that, I muted down the eyes so it didn't look like this character was both radioactive and trying to steal my soul. And I muted down the pink in the ears as well, just to blend in a little bit better with the flesh colours. As you can see, some of my colours bleed across a little bit, but that's just because this is a sketch and I'm not trying to be as tidy as I usually would be with my rendered stuff. Usually when I render, I will put the colours down in a messy way like this first, and then I will go through later and I will clean everything up. But because this is just a video like this, I didn't worry about cleaning it up as much as I normally would. One thing I did have to refrain myself from doing was giving this character the biggest, fluffiest tail you have ever seen in your life. Purely because I really wanted to, but the reference, well, the core image I was given was pretty clear that that was not the case. So as you can see, I struggle a little bit when it comes to the tail. Aside from that, I just wanted to make the name a bit more relevant, because something I found when looking at my old warrior cats is that a lot of the time their designs and their names do not match up in the slightest. I'm not completely sure why that is, but it cannot be logical at all. I'm assuming I adopted a design, slapped a name on it and said, cool, that's a day. So for that reason, I added some flowers behind her ear, added a rose type patterning to her back, and of course moved her grey to a slightly warmer pink-red colour, which gives her both a warm look and a little bit of a rosy glow. After that, I just threw in some shading and bing bang boom, there's your girl. thank you again for helping me out with this video. I really appreciate the material and your link. Something I just thought to add as well is to note that this artist also sent me some of their more recent work. They have improved so much in every way, and it's really beautiful. I won't share it here because I didn't get explicit permission to share it, but I do want to say that if you're watching this, I'm proud of you. You did really well. Keep practicing. This next one kicked me in the face because this was made using DeviantArt Miro. I don't know if anyone remembers DeviantArt Miro, but I sure as hell do, and it was an insane program. It was like, hey, you can just draw it in DeviantArt and it would send it straight to your like stash, and I thought I recognized the brushes, so I reached out to the artist and that person confirmed that, yep, this was drawn on that, and oh my goodness. I've never been a My Little Pony artist, so this drawing is gonna take me a second to try and figure out, and it might not be in the My Little Pony style, but I am up to the challenge. Character design wise, this isn't too bad. It's simple. I can see what they were going for. Trying to draw on that program would have been an absolute nightmare, so props to you either way, but jeez, just save yourself, man. Good to know that this artist has moved on to greener pastures with Fire Alpaca, which I still have my thoughts about, but you know, not everyone can be a bougie person and use Photoshop like me. I didn't pay for Photoshop, please don't kill me. But no, yeah, let's give this a try. A breakdown of the artwork. Obviously, I'm going to draw the character in the middle, laying down. I'm not totally sure if they have all 4 legs. It looks like just 2 legs and the front ones are missing, but I think it's just like drawn from a side view, so you can only see 2 of them. I'm fairly sure My Little Pony characters have hooves. Am I wrong? I might be wrong. But either way, that big curly hair is going to be fun, so I'm just going to get straight into this. Seeing as this is the last redraw I'm going to do as part of this video, I will probably be making a sequel because I got quite a few submissions. I have at least 6 or 7 on the side. But seeing as this was the last one, I decided to draw something I've never drawn before, that being My Little Pony. And if it wasn't obvious from my voiceover before I started, they don't have hooves. I never watched My Little Pony. I have never drawn one before either. It was on, well, the version that was on when I was a kid, because I'm kind of crunchy and old, was very different looking as well. I had some of the toys because I liked like Littlest Pet Shop and all that back in the day when I was like 5. But I have never actually attempted to draw a My Little Pony character, and I guess that changes today. Honestly, this was not a bad one to draw. I had to look up quite a few references because I was like, how do they even look? And I found quite a few. I honestly went off a reference of Applejack quite a lot because it was just the most appropriate one for what I was trying to do, but I did take a glance around at some of the others. I do not know all of their names, but yeah. Some of the audio from while I was recording this speed paint is kind of hilarious though. It consists of a lot of me asking questions and then mumbling to myself that the My Little Pony fandom is going to kill me for this. And if they could hear the questions, they probably would. But, you know, I was learning. And eventually I got to a stage that I quite liked. One thing I really, really love about this character is the hair and the tail being curly. It's not something you see a lot with these kinds of characters, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. I loved drawing it. While I had to try and jump into the My Little Pony style, I still kept to myself quite a bit, especially in the ears. I know that the ears in the actual movie do not cross in front of the hair at any point, but it felt weird. I didn't like it. I did copy their eyes quite closely too. I had to try and do quite a bit of interpreting of the original image. At first, I couldn't tell if the eye was closed and the yellow drop was like underneath it, but in the end I just decided it's a yellow eye. Honestly, it's DeviantArt Mirror. I really do not blame the artists for struggling with this one, because that program was an absolute nightmare. When it comes to line art, I struggled as well, because Photoshop is not good if you want that kind of crisp, clean line art. If I had known I was going to need to do that, I probably would have moved into some of my other programs, which do allow for solid line art, as you see in my animations. Photoshop is more of a painterly software, which really works for me, just not in this particular instance. One thing I did notice though, and I'm gonna go on the rant again, that frickin' grey keeps showing up. Pure grey. No. Bad. Stop. I can't remember if DA Muro allowed as many colours as you wanted, but I think it did, which, come on, don't do this, don't ever do this, never. So once again, I picked the hair colour, and I moved the grey to something in the warm spectrum, because otherwise I would have probably cried. On the topic of the hair colour though, it's actually really nice. I got something really close to it, because I really like how it looks. That and the yellow eyes work really well together, and they actually remind me of one of my characters, which is quite fun. Ultimately, this was a learning experience. This art was from 2018, I believe, which is very impressive considering all of that. And looking at the artist's new stuff, you've improved so much, like so much. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I am very proud of you. Continue drawing, continue growing, because that is amazing. And it's good to see someone with the same kind of origin as I had, although I started on scratch. And I will go into that in a different video.